Mm. Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. Let's get open for business here this morning as we sit 166 days, 10 hours, 31 minutes, and 25 seconds away from kickoff of the 2019 season. Got it right this morning. And look what the cat drug in this morning. My man DMV. DMV, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. I was just in the neighborhood, had to give you a call and stop by, man.
Amen. Hey, I appreciate that. Let me actually take care of our football gods. Let's turn them. Boom. Now we're really open for business because we are going to be praying to the football gods that the 2019 season is going to be the season. So, John, how you been feeling thus far about the moves the Cowboys have made?
Honestly, other than me kind of laughing at the whole Kerry Hyder situation, which was expected, I think that this has been the best off seasons we've had in a long time. I'm very impressed with the things that we are doing, and I think that there's a lot more stuff to come. A lot more.
Well, there's a lot of fans that are disappointed because, of course, we didn't get Earl Thomas. We've had Eric Berry come through, and we didn't sign him. We had Clinton Gathers come through, and George Iloka. We definitely are on the hunt down for safety. But as we look at teams that are like Cleveland, did you see the NFL's power rankings?
No, I didn't, but I can imagine that Cleveland, for some odd reason, jumped up there, didn't it?
Cleveland is ninth.
Ninth?
Ninth.
Oh, okay.
You guess where we are?
We got to be at least in the top 15.
Well, 11. Yeah. And it's funny because, typically...
Yeah, we used to whoop Odell, so I don't understand how the addition of Odell just automatically...
How many games? I don't think the Giants, they won 2 games with Odell against us. I think that's...
And that was in 1 year. So that means there's been years of Odell getting spanked.
Yep, just like Kirk Cousins with Minnesota. Well,
yeah.
It's funny because I went back to to 18 season and looking at it. And basically what they did was Super Bowl champion, that's number 1. Super Bowl runner-up was number 2. And then it was basically all the playoff teams they had in there. There was no variation. And as you go through again, exactly the same thing. But, of course, we have the offseason champion this year, the Cleveland Browns, that now everybody thinks is going to be a great team. But to me, I'm reminded of the Eagles' dream team. You remember that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Haha, dream team.
That one actually turned into a nightmare. But I think about how hard it is for a new person to come in and hit the ground running on a team. And people don't realize you may have a lot of players that are great players, but they have to still work as part of 11 guys on the field. And we saw how our wide receivers, when we first just threw a whole bunch of guys together, how slow it was getting together. You saw Hearn starting to play a little bit better as the season went on. Amari Cooper was one of the few exceptions where he hit the ground running and helped everybody. But it took a while for everybody to finally get on that page, and I think that's going to be Cleveland.
Yeah, probably. Make no mistake, though, Odell Beckham is an outstanding player. Jarvis Landry has shown that he's a pretty good player for them. So I think that, but the thing about football is you can do all this stuff on paper. You can put all these rosters together. You can play Madden like a lot of fans do out there where I can get this guy and get that guy. But you got to play the games. And you got to stay healthy while you're playing the game. And Odell has been out the last 2 years.
Right. And here's an interesting statistic. A player that's had 100 receptions with one team getting traded to another team does not reach 100 again.
Wow. Well, I would think for the most part that one team probably ran the tires pretty thin.
Well, we'll see with AB what happens with
So
him.
who was the one guy? Was it Jerry
I said
Rice?
no, there is no one.
There is no one?
No.
Wow.
The next year did not get 100 receptions. No. I don't know. Did Jerry have that many 100? I mean, he played forever. Did he have that many over 100? Because that was before we were past happy, really, with Jerry Rice.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I do know that he used to put up some crazy numbers.
He did, yeah, of course. Well, but before you came over, what I was actually going to be talking about this morning, to me, was the biggest addition for the Dallas Cowboys this year. The thing that's going to be the biggest impact. Last year, I'm going to honestly say, Amari Cooper, of course, in the middle of the season, and Chris Richard.
Yeah,
Chris
absolutely.
Richard, I think, was
Absolutely.
definitely it.
Hmm.
But I think the biggest addition for this season is actually going to be Travis Frederick coming back.
And I can't even disagree with that. Can't disagree with it at all.
I mean, I look at it this way. You look at teams that are going out there and they're paying a boatload of money to free agents, like Odell, of course, the trade and stuff and what they're giving up. Collins, like with the Redskins giving an $84 million contract, trying to get Pro Bowl players on their roster. Here it is. We have one that's coming back. We have an all pro. Okay, we're talking about a guy who was a Pro Bowler 4 years. Okay, three-time all pro, one of the best centers, if not the best center. If he comes back healthy, yeah,
It's a wash.
that's a major, major boost. And I think, to me, 2016 was the pinnacle of our offensive line. 2017, hang on for 1 second here. Somebody let the dog out, and he wants to come here. Bring your happy ass back in here. Okay. Simba. Maybe I need to let the dog back out. Anyway, 2017 definitely was different for our offensive line. When we lost Tyron Smith going to Chaz Green.
Hmm.
8 sacks in a game. You can't do that. And then, of course, we lost Zeke. But, Zeke's numbers weren't quite as good as they were the year before. And then this year, of course, losing Travis Frederick, Zach Martin on one leg, and Tyron Smith, which seems to be the norm now, he's going to miss a couple of games.
Yeah.
The fact that we got Cam Fleming. Cam Fleming was not Tyron Smith, but he played good enough. The fact that you lost Connor Williams, a rookie, and you ended up having Xavier Salafalo, he's not, all pro guard by any stretch of imagination, but he was good enough. And the fact that we're bringing both of those guys back, now all of a sudden you've got, a guard, you've got a swing tackle, and you got Connor Williams. Now, if you're the Cowboys, what do you do with Connor Williams? Do you keep him at guard, or do you think about trying to fatten him up and change him to a tackle?
In my opinion, I would think about possibly moving him back to right tackle, because if you look at his Texas tape, he was a very, very solid tackle. As a matter of fact, I remember doing film on him, and the guy that I compared him to was Zach Martin, because if you remember, Zach Martin was a shorter tackle at Notre Dame, and the way that he's able to finish, the way that he's able to move downfield, and the athleticism, I think his feet would make him a good candidate to eventually be that right tackle. And I've always thought that maybe, they wanted to start him off next to Frederick, the all-pro, and then move him back out to tackle like they did Collins.
Right. Well, I definitely want to have this discussion with Vosh. Tomorrow, Vosh is also going to be coming through. And, of course, my man DMV and E2 Blue will be here with Michael Anthony Fitness. So, boy, we just having the dogs interrupting this morning.
Thank you.
Come on in, Jelly Bean. Okay. So, chill.
Oh, these dogs.
Oh, okay. John has a son here, and the dogs are having a little interruption here. We'll definitely have a discussion on this, because Vosh's thing is, we need to draft another offensive lineman. I don't see the urgency on offensive linemen that early. I don't have a problem drafting one later on, but I still think defensive line and safety's got to be the priority.
I also will add another priority in there.
What's that?
I think tight end. Even with Jason Witten coming back.
He's just a short gap, and running back too.
Yeah, absolutely. And running back we can get away with a little bit later, but I kind of feel like best player available between those three, tight end, safety, and defensive lineman, as far as where we are.
Yeah. Well, definitely stuff to look at. But I think what the Cowboys have been trying to do this offseason, if you look at, they have gone through and tried to address, it's like, to me, they did an autopsy. They said, where were our weakest areas? They looked and said, running back, Zeke Elliott got his ankle injury and stuff, that we need to have a second plan, and they can't run him in the ground, especially if you're going to go ahead and extend him with a big contract. You see Todd Gurley now with arthritis in the knee. So you need a change of pace back, and I think they need to change how they're using him. Tight end, of course, we know, we got 5 touchdowns out of tight ends in the season, but 3 of those were the last game against the Giants.
Exactly.
And to me, a lot of times Dak Prescott looked like he was looking for that security blanket and ended up taking sack because he just didn't have that guy. Jason Witten is shorthanded. He's not going to be a game breaker, but if we can dump it off to him and pick up 6, 7, 8 yards as opposed to taking a sack, I'm good with that. So it looks like they took care of that situation. Defensive line, we got a couple of defensive linemen in there. I still think the Cowboys are trying to wait out Robert Quinn. That they're going to say Miami. I don't think New Orleans was really that big into trying getting him. I think everybody's just waiting for Miami to cut him, and they're not trying to give up that pick. And eventually Miami probably will end up cutting him just to go ahead and get it off the books. So I think that's just a wait and see. So I could still see him coming. You got him on the defensive line with the guys you have. You get a safety in here, then we can draft best player available.
Absolutely. I think that that's what they're doing right now. They're taking their sweet time to make sure that they find a good fit as far as a veteran that will offer that security blanket for a young guy to come in here, because they're going to draft the safety anyway. They're going to draft the safety. They're going to draft. They're probably going to draft the tight end. Like, that's the one thing that you can say about the Cowboys is that normally they fill the veteran. They fill it with the veteran that's serviceable first as a security blanket,
right,
or insurance, and then what they do is they go out and draft. Like, remember all of the veterans, the veteran linebackers last year. Then all of a sudden we go ahead and get Van Der Esch.
Yeah.
So that's what they do. So that's pretty much a telltale right there.
Right, pick and choose which ones are going to be the best ones. Well, that's going to be it for here. We're going to save some of this for tomorrow. So make sure tomorrow you tune in, because tomorrow afternoon, sometime 3 or 4, we'll do live stream and stuff from here with all the fellas and stuff, and hopefully really get this place put to use. This is kind of my vision of being able to have a bunch of us here working, talking football and everything else, and bring it to you guys. But as always, I want to thank everybody for watching, commenting, and subscribing, and tell everybody where to find you, DMV.
Find me, DMV Dallas Cowboys, on YouTube. I'm back.
There we go. And I'll see you guys soon.